So you should have watched the slide videos on the Abraham videos before looking at this. But just to continue that thought then, on the issue of the test and the sacrifice that Abraham almost made of his son, this is a really difficult scenario, again. But there are a few questions that we can ask, not just in terms of Abraham's perspective, but we can ask questions from Isaac's perspective. And this is something that has been done for a long, long time in Jewish tradition. When it comes to understanding this text and trying to interpret it, there are various lenses through which people try to see the story. And so one of them is Isaac's perspective on what's going on here. And so you can ask, what do you think Isaac is thinking as they walk up the mountain, right? Do you think that he realizes that he is the planned sacrifice? Do you think that this is a test for him as well as Abraham, right? We don't actually hear from Isaac a whole lot. He asks a question, but other than that, we don't really get much of his perspective at all in the biblical text. And so the question would be if this is something that we imagine would have happened or is at least an important part of the biblical narrative in terms of Abraham's priesthood covenant, there would have to be something that Isaac thinks in reference to all of it. We don't want to just think of him as a flat two-dimensional character. He actually matters in all of this. It may not be a coincidence that we don't hear much from Isaac after all of this. We really kind of gloss over his life pretty quickly and go to his son, Abraham's grandson's life. So anyway, you can maybe pause this video and ask a couple of those questions amongst yourselves and discuss what you think about Isaac's perspective. But once you do, let's just talk finally about how all of this affects us, at least in modern culture today. So we've already talked about how this is significant in terms of the biblical narrative and the relevance of the covenant. But let's just talk about culture. So if you remember, Abraham receives 3 promises: land, a great nation of many descendants, and a great name, a good reputation, blessings, that sort of thing. So Abraham, not only the physical father, becomes the spiritual father of 3 major religions. Okay? So you've got Judaism, which comes directly from the Hebrew people, and then, as you may know, Christianity comes out of Judaism once Jesus comes and people have to decide who they believe Jesus is. And then eventually Islam comes out of these traditions when you've got, well, there's much that we could say about it, but you've got a variety of factors that contribute to views that develop over time. And the interesting part here is that what many people may not know is that Islam and the Quran are all based in the Old Testament scriptures. And so Abraham would be considered the father of the Islamic religion. And so they consider Abraham a prophet and a patriarch as well as the Jews do. So anyway, these are 3 major religions that come from the Abrahamic tradition. All right? And these faiths total about 4 billion people, over half the world's population. Abraham is the first Jewish patriarch, and so this begins a series of patriarchs. You may know them: Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then Jacob is the father of the 12 sons, or the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? And so that word Jew, the word Jew that we get, actually is derived from the name Judah, and Judah should be the 4th, I believe, son of Jacob. Okay? So this is the legacy, at the very least, in terms of what we know about culture and religion today.